What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel, where in today's video we will be discussing just how powerful Luke Skywalker was in chapter 16 of The Mandalorian. Now, I've seen some people around the internet saying Luke has become what Anakin would have been had he never fallen to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar, and that statement actually does hold some water, as the Skywalker children do hold the same potential. That is, their midichlorian counts are the same as their father, which was the highest on record according to the Jedi archives. The difference between Anakin and his children, though, of course, is that Anakin's connection to the Force was actually damaged considerably due to his injuries, meaning that Luke and Leia actually both had the potential to become more powerful than Anakin could ever be. And George Lucas did once claim that Luke Skywalker was the most powerful Force user of all time. But, like it or not, for better or for worse, George Lucas is not in control anymore, so let's talk about Luke's big move in The Mandalorian, and from there, I will compare Luke to the Jedi who came before him and also present an argument for why he may indeed be more powerful than his father.
What did you say?
Now, let me be clear about this. I am not actually telling you definitively that Luke is stronger than Anakin or Vader, because the truth is, I really don't know. If we're just going off of what we've seen in the movies, I think a stronger argument can be made that Vader is more powerful, but there's a whole lot more to consider here because we're no longer talking about the Luke we saw in Return of the Jedi. This is 5 years after that point. 5 years which Luke has spent polishing his skills, studying ancient Jedi texts from which he learns many new abilities, and in which he has primed himself to become the next Grand Master of the Jedi Order. This is a very different Luke Skywalker than we have ever seen before, and that is made very clear in this episode of The Mandalorian. Right when Luke arrives, he strikes fear into Moff Gideon, who somehow seems to know it is Luke who has just arrived, and that thought sends chills down his spine. Luke then proceeds to stroll through the ship with supreme confidence in his abilities. He holds absolutely no fear for the Dark Troopers who were in all likelihood about to kill Din Djarin and the crew he had rounded up to save Grogu. These were formidable opponents. A single one of them nearly killed Mando earlier in the episode, and as a unit, they pretty much looked unstoppable. But not for Luke. He slices through an entire army with ease, utilizing a wide array of abilities we have never seen him use with anywhere near that level of efficiency, and sometimes he almost seems bored by their attacks. Maybe bored isn't the right word, but the way he stops to crush the one at the end, and the manner in which he just calmly moves from one victim to the next as he makes his way toward Grogu, really says to me that Luke is barely scratching the surface of his power here. It's almost like he's having fun with that last trooper, but at the same time, he appears to maybe be tapping into some of that darkness his family is so prone to using. But not because he has to or he's being forced to, because he wants to. I almost get this vibe that Luke feels he has mastered the Force to the point that he does not fear the dark side nor the light, rather he just uses the Force as it comes to him. I just get the vibe that he is not like a traditional Jedi in his approach to combat in this scene. And when he finally enters the room and speaks with Din about the child, he gives us some of that Return of the Jedi vibe, but he seems maybe a little wiser and a little more sure of himself. This portrayal of Luke stays true to the character we all know and love. This is the confident and optimistic, yet also a little wary Luke Skywalker. And while some people may not see it this way, this Luke actually does stay true to the man we got in the sequels as well. Not necessarily the scared man who disappeared and hid himself away for 7 years, but the legend everyone's always talking about. This feeds that mystical portrayal of Luke, this powerful Jedi Master who everyone believed could single-handedly take down the First Order if he ever returned. It may seem impossible to some of you out there, but I see Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and their team beginning to bridge this gap between the sequels and the originals, and I truly think that in time, the character of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi is going to make a whole lot more sense to everyone. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but that's how I feel. But let's stay on track here. I think it's important to point out that Luke is not fighting worthy opponents in this scene, not for someone with his level of power. So it's not fair for us to judge how powerful he is just based on what we see here. We have to speculate a little and try to fill in the gaps in order to really assess how strong he is. And when we consider Luke's journey to this current point in his life, when we think about what he's been up to according to the books and movies, which imply that Luke is out tirelessly searching the galaxy for Force relics and Jedi artifacts and so on and so forth, and also consider that Luke is very likely being guided by the Force ghosts of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, this all points to Luke being an absurdly powerful Jedi Master at this point. Has he he reached his full potential? I doubt it. That probably won't come until right around the time Ben Solo turns to the dark side, but he still could very well be the most powerful Jedi of all time right now during The Mandalorian. And any more progress he makes, he's just breaking his own records. But what do I really think? How does Luke measure up to his predecessors in this moment? If I had to put a number on him, if I had to rank him against all those who came before, I would say Luke during the time period of The Mandalorian is still not quite on the level of a Master Yoda, but I do think he has probably surpassed that Revenge of the Sith Anakin Skywalker level and is very close to a prime Darth Vader. And at that point, you're splitting hairs between who you would pick. Now, it's important that we make this clear so you guys can understand why I'm saying this. If Luke Skywalker ever achieves his full potential, he is 100% more powerful than his father. That's not just my opinion or something that's up for debate, it's a fact. Vader's connection to the Force was literally severed in his arms and legs, and that reduced his abilities and his potential. And on top of that, his cybernetic limbs and the confines of his suit reduced his mobility and slowed him down. Another weakness that Luke simply does not have. So this is how I evaluate Luke versus Vader at this stage in the game. I would still say that Prime Darth Vader is slightly more powerful than Luke in The Mandalorian, but Luke's mobility makes him a more effective duelist. So again, it's really just about how you determine a character's power, but Luke is at this point a top 3 Jedi of all time in terms of his power during this time period in my opinion. Probably top 2 because I think he's now really creeping up on becoming what Anakin would have been had he never lost to Obi-Wan. And that's of course just talking in terms of Disney canon. But there you have it. Those are my initial thoughts on the power of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up here, so let me know what you guys think about my evaluation in the comments section below, and comment how powerful you think Luke was. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like to support the channel, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until next time, may the Force be with you, always.